Alrighty, welcome Field and Court to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about the ACC versus the SEC, and by that I'm going to be comparing Florida Gators to the Clemson Tigers. First up, I want to talk about the Clemson Tigers' schedule. Their first and last games are probably their hardest games. Their first game they play LSU at home, and then their last game they play South Carolina away. These two games are going to be their hardest games for sure. You know, if Clemson is who they say they are, then these should be close games or they should win. Now, for the rest of their schedule, they play some good teams, but mostly just basically bye weeks. They play Troy. Georgia Tech is going to be an all right game, but if Clemson is who they say they are, then they should beat Georgia Tech by a good amount. Syracuse, UNC, Boston College, SMU might be a good game. Duke, Florida State, Louisville, and Furman. Now, the rest of this schedule, other than the first and last game, should be wins, no matter what. I think their floor should be a 10-2 season, and their ceiling should be a 12-0 season. But if, Clemson messes up and they go 9-3, 8-4, I think they should be kicked out of the college football playoff as a contender. I don't think Clemson has any sort of, we lost a couple games, but we lost them to these big teams. I think you have two games like that, LSU and South Carolina. Now, let's look at LSU and South Carolina, where they are ranked. So Clemson right now in the coaches poll is at a 6, and LSU's 9, and South Carolina is at 13. Now, these are going to change, especially the South Carolina one. The LSU one will stay the same for the first game because that is their first game. But if, Clemson is at a 6. So Clemson, from the coaches poll, they should beat LSU their first game. But I have high hopes for LSU. I think LSU is going to be great this year, and I think they're going to beat Clemson by a good margin. So if Clemson goes 9-3, I think it's going to be a question for them to be in the playoffs. That's for the ACC side. Now, let's compare that to the Florida Gators schedule. Now, the Florida Gators are most definitely not the best team in the SEC, but I think they have a lot in common with a quarterback who I think is going to be a Heisman contender, just like the Clemson quarterback, Cade Klubnik, and the Florida's QB, DJ Lagway. I think these two you're going to have to fight it out for the Heisman if number 4 on Ohio State doesn't just completely unanimously take it. Now, Florida is ranked 17th right now, and Florida is behind a good number of SEC teams that they are going to play. Florida's first two games, LIU and South Florida, both at home, should be easy wins. I don't think Florida should struggle with these two teams. It'll be a good just warm up for the season. They're going to need it. Their third game is LSU at LSU. This is going to be a rough game. Again, like I said, LSU, I have high hopes for them. Now, funny enough, in their next game, Florida plays Miami. Now, I was just talking about how ACC sucks and all, and the Clemson Tigers, they're going to have to win each game. But Miami is probably the best team, I think, with that quarterback from Georgia transferring over. I think they're going to be pretty good. I think it's funny how Florida's playing Miami, probably the best team in the ACC, and Clemson's not playing them at all this year, and they're in the same conference. I know how the schedules work out, but I think it would have been interesting to see Clemson and Miami go at it this year. Now, their next game, they have a home game against Texas. Texas is the first-ranked team in college football right now. Texas will probably take this game versus Texas A&M at Texas A&M. Now, at Texas A&M is a whole different story. Same thing with the at LSU. I think Florida, they got screwed for their scheduling, like playing at the harder stadiums. Texas A&M is probably one of the harder stadiums to play in, maybe behind Penn State's whiteout game. And that's just one game. I think just regular Texas A&M games are probably the hardest stadium to play at. Now, their next game, Mississippi State. This is going to be, I think Florida should take this one, and it's at home, so that's going to give them a little edge. They play Georgia at home, which should be a good game. Then they play Kentucky at Kentucky, which they should take that game. Florida plays at Ole Miss, which is another away game at a competitive stadium. It's to be hard to play in the Ole Miss Stadium. And then their second to last game is Tennessee at home. Tennessee's always, had a good football program, so they should show out this year. I think this will be another great game. Their last game, Florida State rivalry week, they should win this game easy. So I'm looking at Florida's ceiling. They could win all their games, honestly. And then their floor, I would say, is like 8-4. Now, let's talk about the college football playoffs. I'm taking a Florida 8-4 team than a Clemson 10-2 team. Now, let's make some clarifications. If Clemson completely destroys the teams they should, then I think Clemson should be in the playoffs. But if they struggle at all with any of these teams that are in between their first and last game, then there should be a conversation like, hey, maybe Clemson shouldn't be in it, and we'll give it to somebody like Florida, where, they lost 4 games, but they played competitive 4 games against like LSU, Texas A&M, and Georgia. But they beat out Ole Miss and Tennessee and Miami. I think if Florida can have anything above 8-4, then I would rather have them than a Clemson Tigers team. Clemson has a freshman running back coming in, a true freshman running back, which is going to be interesting to see. His name is Gideon Davidson. That's going to be fun to see. Their defense looks like it's entirely Clemson players coming back, and same thing with their special teams. Now let's look at the Florida Gators roster. They have a true freshman coming in, Dallas Wilson. He's a freshman, and they have a transfer from UCLA. Last year, he had 22 receptions for 315 yards, 14 yards per catch, and 2 touchdowns. So he didn't play much. Be all right. Hopefully, Florida can help him out a lot. And then defense, all Florida's defense is coming back from last year. And then it looks like they got a new kicker. So these teams are relatively the same, with only a few exceptions, like running back on the Clemson team and 2 new wide receivers on Florida. So it looks like a lot of their teams coming back. And it's going to be really interesting to see the quarterback situation with Cade and DJ, both coming back from last year, looking great. Looks like that's about it. Appreciate you guys watching. Thank you.
You know you love it.